Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, February 7th. So today, the moon is going to be in Virgo all day. We are here to create order out of the chaos, especially in our emotional realm. We are here to put our environments back together into an organized space. We want to be productive. We want to be helpful. We want to actually see that we are having some progress here. And even more than that, the Virgo energy taps into the details of the inner workings of our mind, the inner workings of our heart space, the actions that need to be taken in order to get to where it is that we want. And if we arrive at any problems, we are able to solve them pretty quickly with this Virgo energy. So it's definitely working in our favor. We have 12 different aspects here today. 10 of them are going to involve the moon in Virgo. But first up, we have Venus, who is in Pisces energy, semi-squaring, which is a mini tension point, a mini conflict point with Pluto. Now, I want to talk about this for a second, just briefly, because if we go back to the beginning of 2023, first of all, Venus is the ruler of 2023 as it is a vibration of 7, but Pluto and Venus kind of kicked the year off with a level of empowerment to really kind of balance the scales, to find peace and harmony in our lives again, especially within our emotional realm and our head space, and also in our relationship dynamics. So to have these two pop off again, and of course they weren't in Pisces, Venus wasn't in Pisces energy at the time, but every single time this year that these two are coming together, it is stripping away a level of shadow work that we kind of need to peel back the layers upon in order for us to boss up to new levels of worth, of value, of love, of peace, of harmony. So this is a semi-square. This is a little bit of a tension point. And let me just say that we are going to feel that tension not only within ourselves, but in our relationships. Something happens because the full moon in Leo that we just had is supposed to illuminate the hurt, the pain, the sadness, the grief, the disconnect that we've been feeling in our heart space, especially with the people around us. And with Venus being in Pisces energy, there will be endings taking place. If you're in a relationship or in a friendship or sharing space and energy and life force energy with another individual who is not in alignment with you, Venus being in Pisces energy is going to show you that so that you can disconnect from that in preparation for a brand new clean slate with new soul contracts when Venus actually moves into Aries energy. The Plutonian energy, which is always a little bit dark, always a little bit tension filled. Why? Because Pluto is the god of the underworld. We tend to kind of sit in our suspicions about the people in our life right now. We're kind of feeling like there's a hidden agenda for their motivations, for their kindness, for their detachment, whatever the case may be. We get triggered in our jealousy and our paranoia, and it really hits us who and what we're actually afraid of losing. And this realization, although it doesn't feel good, needs to happen in order for us to see who is worth the time, energy, and effort that we're going to continue to pour into our relationships. So it is kind of a jolt of energy because it doesn't feel so good. However, we need to realize, especially in this Pisces energy, what doesn't feel good, who doesn't feel good, in order to recognize where those soul contracts have maybe come to a certain sense of completion, or where it is that we still see the value in these particular relationships, but that we have to kind of clear the air and manipulate the energy exchange that's going on in those particular relationships. So this is where we're starting our day. Now, the moon goes ahead very shortly after and makes a harmonious energy with Pluto. What I love about the moon in Virgo and Pluto's energy is that they're both very peachy keen on analyzing our psyche, our psychological self, right down to the finest detail, understanding that the inner workings of our mind, of our perception, of our understanding dictates how it is that we feel about certain situations. And what I love is that this is a harmonious aspect. So we're digging deep within the way that we think, within the way that we feel, especially in our personal relationships or where it is that we feel the chaos in our lives where relationships are concerned, because of course Venus just popped off with Pluto. What I like about this as well is that we're able to kind of problem solve really quick, kind of rewrite the script really quick, shift our perception and our understanding and therefore our emotions super quick once we realize what the problem actually is. The moon goes ahead, makes a positive interaction with Chiron, Chiron the wounded healer. What does this mean? It means that we are healing something. We are growing in our, I'm going to say, tough love life lessons. We are understanding where the wounds were alive and well, what actually triggered them, where the primary root cause of them actually lies within our psyche. And we are doing the deep dive in order to problem solve some of these issues. So this suggests that the earlier interaction with Pluto has been very transformative in making sure that we are acknowledging where the primary source wound is and where it is that we can flip the script around it. The moon does kind of make an awkward interaction with Jupiter, and this is going to turn the volume all the way up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. So we're definitely, I'm going to say, feeling a little bit extra, a little bit dramatic. We are also a little bit too eager of a beaver to go ahead and take action, even though we are moving into the action cycle. We do have to think very logically and practically about the steps that we're taking in order to actually create opportunities for ourselves and put ourselves out there. And this particular energy does kind of suggest that there's a lot of urges, a lot of impulse really taking over. And that is the last thing that the Virgo energy wants to deal with. If we're not moving in a logical, practical, calculated strategy, then we're not moving at all. So there is a little bit of restlessness that can kick up with this particular interaction, just because Jupiter is rearing to go and the moon in Virgo hasn't quite figured out all the details yet. So until we do, we're going to keep our butts here. The moon goes ahead, trines, which is a beautiful energy, with the true node of the moon. Now, this is beautiful because the true node of the moon is the path that we need to be on. It's our soul path, our destiny point. And a trine means that we're working together here in order to figure things out. The moon is in Virgo energy. The north node of the moon is in Taurus energy. This is some earth on earth action here. And what we are figuring out is the most logical, practical plan for us to take steps and move forward to resolve some of the issues that we're identifying in our routines, in our relationships, in our money matters, in our long-term plans. So this is highly suggestive that we're making sense of where it is that we desire to be, and we're actually coming up with a strategy on how it is that we're going to get there. The moon is going to bump into Mercury, though, and not the nicest way. And although we have some earth-on-earth action between our heart and our head, the problem is that Mercury, being in Capricorn energy, is thinking too long-term. The moon in Virgo needs to focus on the here and now, the details, what we have control of on the here and now. Yes, there is an advantage of projecting yourself very far into the future to see the big picture on what it is that you want to create, because you do have to break it down in smaller, manageable, achievable pieces in order to actually get there. But our headspace is thinking too big. Emotionally, we need to stick into the grounded energy of the here and now in order to sort out the inner realm details. So yes, there is a disconnect between our heart and our head right now, even though they are both in earth energy, because like I said, Virgo energy wants to focus on the details. What can we do right now that's going to add to the framework that is going to be helpful to get us away from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be? Mercury in Capricorn is over there just focusing on the end goal, which isn't going to work for this Virgo energy, who needs to kind of organize the here and now and strategize how it is that we're going to get from here to there. The moon is going to go ahead and square Mars. So Mars, as you know, physical energy, passion, desire, even anger, if need be. In this Gemini energy, so still very stuck in the intellect. We'll be some glad when Mars kind of moves out of this Gemini energy. But the good news is that we're not as divided. We're not as on the fence between two ideas, two choices, two decisions, two paths, two directions as we once were. The moon getting into the boxing ring with Mars is going to be a little bit, how do I want to say this? Intense, I guess. We have the grounding energy of Virgo that does not want to budge unless there is a calculated strategy and plan implemented in order for us to take action. Mars really doesn't care. He's got ants in his pants. He's had ants in his pants. He just wants to move forward. He just wants to move forward. What we will get out of this tension point is an opportunity to shift into action based off of the preliminary, let's call it preliminary strategy that the moon in Virgo is coming up with. But it's also, if we're not able to kind of, slow the horses down, it is kind of creating a little bit of an energy where we could be taking the wrong steps. The impulsivity, the urges that Mars is kind of sitting in right now, could really override our logical thinking and therefore push us to take action that aren't the right steps to take. And therefore, we're going to have a mess to clean up. So it is going to feel very conflicting. Yes, we are inspired. Yes, we have a lot of goals, a lot of dreams, a lot of visions, a lot of ambitions that we want to get to work and actually bringing to life. But right now, we have to kind of gauge where it is that our energy is needed. And right now, our energy is needed in the here and now to sort things out, to learn what we have to learn in order to do things correctly, to connect the dots on where it is that, we absolutely need to see why certain things happen in the past in order to prepare us for this moment so that we can implement that wisdom and knowledge into the plan and strategy for the future. And it just feels like there's a potential for messiness. So I definitely want you to pay attention to how this energy is going to be manifesting in you. The moon bumps into Chiron right after, giving us an opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow, opportunity to get a grip over our emotions, over our physical energies. The Chiron energy is the wounded healer, and we're ready to examine the wounds, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, what it is that we're hesitant about, where it is that maybe we don't have enough discipline over our physical energy. If you did go ahead and take a misstep and allow kind of that Mars energy to lead you into creating a mess, then this is definitely going to illuminate where it is that, guess what? You effed up again. You maybe didn't learn from the last time. This is definitely going to expose the wounds in order for us to heal them. The moon bumps into Pluto shortly after, though, and this is where we get to examine what is going on in our headspace. What is going on in our programming? Something must be wrong or flawed in that script in order for us to take action on things that haven't been thought out correctly. Where is the fears and the doubts and the insecurities? Where are they being triggered in your psyche and in your heart space? The good thing is that we're going to resolve some of these issues. We're going to identify them, and then we're going to work on solving them. We're going to have a total transformation of the heart space because, of course, that's what Pluto is here to do. And shortly after, we have Mercury making a very positive interaction with Jupiter. So Mercury, our mental plane in this Capricorn energy, very low and slow and grounded on thinking about the logical, practical, long-term plans that we want to start building upon. Jupiter, of course, about growth and expansion, shining a bright light and magnifying what it is that we have to build and create in our lives, where it is that we have to tap into the spiritual wisdom that we've accumulated from past experiences in order to implement it into the here and now, so that the action that we do take, the growth that we do make, is the best situation and scenario that we can project for ourselves from this particular level of awareness. So there are some new ideas coming in, some big ideas, and we are hopped up on optimism and confidence with this particular interaction. And we are really being inspired and really pushing the boundaries of the ideas that we've been having, the vision and the dreams that we are trying to conjure up and manifest. This is a good vibe. Just in time for the moon to oppose and sit across from Venus. So Venus is in Pisces energy, the moon is in Virgo energy. Virgo and Pisces energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel and are the healing axis. The Virgo energy wants to heal the physical realm, the physical body, the mental health. Pisces energy wants to heal the emotional and spiritual realm. Venus, being in Pisces energy, is very focused on soul contracts where relationships are concerned right now. And the moon in Virgo is here to emotionally and mentally pick apart the details of why it is that we do not feel aligned, connected, safe, secure with certain people in our lives. This, although may not feel good, is an absolute attention getter on where it is that we have to be real and raw and grounded in our emotions and our feelings in order to act as the observer to see where it is that we are hesitant to let some people go. The moon, the last aspect that we have here today, the moon is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Uranus, the great awakener, who, if you listen to the full moon astro forecast and downloaded your moon guide, you would know had a pretty big starring role in that full moon event. And with this trine, again, we get a trine because the moon in Virgo is in earth energy. Uranus is currently in Taurus, which is in earth energy. So we get some earth on earth action here. We tap into the positive aspects of what Uranian energy brings, which is a total shift, a shock, a disruption to our physical realms that have a major impact on shifting our mental and emotional perspectives. So we are gaining clarity, this aha moment, this epiphany, this shift in perspective, this shift in emotion. It's opening us up for change. Opening us up to realize where it is that we've been holding on to certain aspects of our physical realm, people, places, titles, possessions, and things for dear life because we've been afraid of losing them. Recognizing now, because of the moon in Virgo, we've kind of done the nitty-gritty details on recognizing why it is that we are so fear-based on losing certain aspects of not only our physical realms, but ourselves. And we're understanding that those are trauma wounds, trauma bonds, egoic wounds that we have now intertwined so deeply with our identity that we wouldn't know who we are without them. And suddenly, that seems very confining. Suddenly, that seems more like a prison than support and stability. And we are shifting our perspective, shifting our heart space, shifting our understanding on where it is that we need to make some major changes to our physical realm. And again, the moon in Virgo is here to identify the problem, come up with a solution, and create a lot more order in our lives instead of the chaos that we've been sitting in.